Hi, it's Phil Strong. Thanks for joining me today. Someone's asked me a question, and it's about kids and it's about money. They have said this. They have said, how much is normal to give a kid for an allowance? Well, valid question. So let's look at a couple of options. Obviously, I agree. You should give a child an allowance, and I've done other videos on this. Please go back and have a look. Search for keywords for children and money and allowance and see what you find. But I do believe you should give a child an allowance because you allow them to learn about money by playing with money, and that's how kids learn. They learn by playing. So that out of the way, let's talk about how much. It's my opinion that for a child under the age of 6, really you don't need to give them much money. Quite simply, $3 is a lot of money to a 4-year-old. It's a huge amount of money. So be very, very careful how you do that. What I would encourage you to do is definitely to use coins for your children at this age, because they're tactile, they can play with them, and when there's a lot of them, they get to see them. So if you're paying your child $1 per week as an allowance, then I would encourage you to get that in 5 or 10 cent pieces, because there's a lot of them. Alright, it makes them feel really rich. If you showed them a dollar coin and 25-cent coins, I can promise you they will go for the 25-cent coins, because they'll say it's more money. Alright, so think about that. So anyway, here's the thing. When you give them lots of coins, there's the other part. It's easy to split up. If you gave them a $5 note, they can't split it up. Whereas if you gave them 5 $1 notes, they can apportion that money into different things. And this is the key. So here's the thing. I would suggest under 6 years old, $3 is ample. It's a lot of money. The reason I like the principle of 3 is because there are 3 things that I teach children to do with money. The first thing is to share their money, save their money, and then spend their money. 3 things. By sharing, I mean giving a little bit to the community or to a charity or to a church. Secondly, they should be saving for a goal, even if that goal is a lollipop on Saturday and it's only 50 cents. They should be saving for that. And thirdly, they've got to have some money to have some fun, to spend, and to just to enjoy, because otherwise money becomes a noose around their neck, and we don't want that. So, as a child gets older, the question is, how do you work this out? Well, some people teach that between the ages of say 5 and 10, it is acceptable to give a child a $1 for every year of their age, so that it goes up. And so what that means, if you have a 9-year-old, you might give them $9. But here's the thing, you can decide how often, because allowance doesn't need to be weekly. You know, if you're struggling, but you really want to apply this principle, you might say to your children, okay, allowances are going to be paid monthly. And what that means is, little 9-year-old, you're going to get $9. And so you give them 9 $1. Okay? That's the way you do it. But obviously if you wanted to do pocket money or allowances weekly, you would have to pay them $9 every week. Now that's quite a bit different. So you work it out, okay? But be fair, but explain what you're doing. Now as children get older, into their tweens and into their teens, their demand for money becomes a lot greater. Those of you that have teenagers will understand this. So what I write about in my books with kids and money is the concept of allowing your children to have control over certain aspects of their budget. And a great example is food and clothing. 2 good examples, because that's what teenagers seem to consume the most. Oh, and of course technology, like cell phones or music. So let's just take the idea of clothing. And your teenager may have a demand for clothing, if that's something that's important to them, which most teenagers, it is at some stage. So why not set a budget for their clothing, separate to their normal pocket money, but give them, say, let's just make up some numbers. Let's just say every 3 months they were able to spend $100. Gosh, it sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But let's just go with it. Every 3 months they're allowed to spend $100 on clothing and shoes. Now, what if you set up an account or a jar? A jar is just as good, with money that goes into it, so they can manage what that money goes on. You see, some kids will be very, very clever, and they will shop on websites to get specials, or they'll buy second-hand clothes off websites, or they'll exchange clothes with their friends, so that their money goes a lot further. Now if they want a really nice pair of new skate shoes and that's $150, then they're going to have to save up for that, aren't they? And they know that if they spend $150 on one item, it's a long time before they can buy some more clothes. So giving them that freedom within your boundaries allows them to learn the principle of budgeting, working towards things that are important to them. And look, you can decide how much influence you want to have over their clothing. I don't really want to have that discussion today, but give them some freedom and see how they react. My experience is when you give teenagers responsibility, they rise to the occasion. And as long as they know that you're there and there is a box, you are still the boss, you are still guiding them, they tend to respond really, really well. Well, I hope that's your experience. So I hope that's helped. How much money should I give my child as an allowance? I look forward to catching up with you soon. Oh, that's right. Later in 2009, I'll be releasing my next book called Kids and Money. And so in that we talk about pocket money. And that'll definitely give you a lot more insight. So watch out for it on this website. Okay, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.